So, this past week, I decided to take a trip. Actually, it was over a week ago. I had to go down to North Carolina for work. And if you don't know my story, I bought a 24-foot car hauler and turned it into a cargo trailer conversion camper. And since I had to go down to North Carolina for work, I decided to take a trip, keep heading south down to Jacksonville, Florida. You know, one of my co-workers lives in Jacksonville, and I figured I'd come down and check out Jacksonville to see how it was. They're actually in Jacksonville Beach, and this is right in between Jacksonville, the city, and Jacksonville Beach. This is Hanna Park. So I get down to Hanna Park and pull into my campsite. And that's one of the campsites there where you see that white pedestal with the light on it. You get electric, you get water, you get sewer hookup for $30 a night, which you can't beat that. And it's a beautiful spot. You got palm trees everywhere. And you see all these different campers and people either living or just spending some time out there in the park. Because it's actually a park that has trails, beaches, and it's just a beautiful place. I really liked Hanna Park in Jacksonville, Florida. But I had checked the weather beforehand, like I always do when I'm traveling. It said a chance of rain a couple days. I was like, well, that's Florida for you, right? I get there, I park, set up, everything's fine. The next day, I get a knock on the door from one of the host campers asking me, are you staying with the storm coming? I said, yeah. I said, when I looked at the forecast, it didn't look like it was going to hit here. He said, okay, that's fine. If you're going to stay, you have to sign a waiver. I laughed. I signed the waiver. I was like, it's cool. And then maybe 2 hours later, the Jeeps are coming around with security with the bullhorns towing, and everybody have to evacuate down to the beach. So this is mandatory evacuation because they're afraid some of these trees may topple over, crush your camper, and possibly crush you. So now you're seeing me after I hooked my camper back up to my Chevy Silverado and started heading towards the beach. All the while I'm thinking in my head, how is the beach a safe place to go? But nevertheless, here we are on the beach road. On the right side, right over those trees, is the beach itself. And you see all the campers, all the different styles, and everybody with their motorcycles trailing, their Jeeps trailing. It's a sight to see. It probably had to be over 200 campers that had to hook everything up, unhook everything, load up, and come on down to the beach. And it was a very interesting time. Now, we sat there for maybe an hour or so before the storm really kicked in. And when I say it kicked in, it kicked in. We got 2 tornado warnings while we were sitting there. By the second tornado warning, I got out of the trailer itself, got in my truck, started it up, and reached out to my coworker. They gave me their address. I said, if things get any worse, I'll be outside your house. But it did blow over. And believe it or not, this right here is after the storm. The main part of the storm has blown over. So I decided to take a ride on my way back to my campsite to pull onto the parking lot for the beach itself so I could see what it looked like. Now, I didn't realize that some of the campers actually pulled onto the parking lot for the beach. I might have pulled here and watched the storm. I'm sure it was a sight to see. And you see the water's still rough out there, but this is the aftermath. This isn't what it looked like in the heart of the storm. This is the calm part compared to where it was. But it was very interesting to wait out a storm and get tornado warnings with your trailer sitting by the beach. That was an experience I hadn't experienced before. Don't really want to experience again. Now, I saw this camper and thought it was amazing. Retro from the beginning, from the front to the back. This has to be like a 1970 something camper. It was cool. Now, this is the road in between the campsites. So that's what it looked like. And this is me after the storm. I'm in here rewiring a few things. I have the EcoFlow Delta 2 power stations. I have 2 of them with the extra battery. So it gives me about, 2,000 watt hours of power on each one. I love them. Made it back home in one piece, but it's time to head back out in another piece.